Yo, what's going on, folks? It's a pleasure to have you all here. You can see I've got you, Captain, in the comment at the moment. It's so good to be doing this. It's been one of those weird days. I've made so many mistakes with timings. I even uploaded the wrong video this morning, so it's been an interesting Monday. But I'm so happy to be doing here. So while we just give everyone a chance to get in. Oh, hey, how's it going? I do have a bit of a delay on the stream as well. So if I'm a bit slow on getting back to people, that's why. So by the time you've sent it, I probably don't see it for about 30 seconds, but really do appreciate anyone that's jumping in. We're just going to give a bit of time for people to jump in, but the whole purpose, oh, you're so welcome. So welcome. It's really hard to do the right timing for these because, I've got an audience across so many different time zones, but it's never going to be perfect, but, we're here now, so I appreciate you being here. But the whole purpose of this stream, while we're just getting ready and for people to come in, is just to go through goals for the year for 2021. This is my third one, kind of like a check-in of, how I've been progressing, how things are going. And, we talk about YouTube analytics, we talk about the reselling goals, we talk about the running goals, talk about my podcast, and, a chance to also just give back to you guys, answer any questions and give some love back as well. So it's so good to have you all here. Hey, Dario, flip how you doing, man? No worries. Really do appreciate it, man. Just having you pop in to say hi is always great. So do appreciate it very much. It's really, really good. While I'm waiting for everyone to just, give a couple of minutes, I'm going to have an Easter egg, and that's what I'm looking at down here, just a plain one. I've eaten too many Easter eggs over the last couple of days. Hope you've all had a good Easter. That you've had some downtime and relaxation with friends, family, loved ones, or maybe just by yourself. That's fine as well. Drew and Sarah, how you doing? How are you doing? So good to have you all here. This is good. We've got about 5 people at the moment that I can see. Yeah, that's understanding, mate. Like, it's all good. It's at 9 o'clock. I bet you really want him to be in bed already. So good luck, buddy. Good stuff. Hope you're all doing good. Do say hi. I can see a lot of people already talking, and yeah, happy Easter to everyone. It's good to have the chat happening down below as well, because that's what we're all about. Community, bringing everyone together. And my whole intent of the YouTube channel is to just share and to build a community where hopefully we can learn from each other. I'm definitely no pro with all the things that I'm doing, so it's great to be able to just hear from each other, and everyone is oh, buddy, good luck. It's a tough thing. It's tough, and I agree. There's no such thing as too much chocolate, although I'm sure our stomachs would probably, give us a bit of a challenge on that one. But hey, it only comes around once a year, so don't need to make excuses, eh? This is great. All right, we've got 7 people in, and just to kind of reset kind of what we're going through, just for those that have just joined. So the intention of this is just to go through March 2021, my progress of how I'm going this year in terms of everything that I'm trying to achieve. I've got a whole bunch of different goals. We'll talk about the YouTube analytics. We're going to talk about the reselling, my Further Your Lifestyle podcast, and a whole bunch of other different goals. And that's probably what we'll kick off first, is just give everyone a bit of an idea of what those goals are. Of course, I did release a video on it at the start of the year, but I can't expect everyone to have seen that. And yeah, so maybe that's what I'll do. I'm going to bring up kind of what I've gone through, what the goals were at the start of the year, and then we'll jump into some of the reselling and some of the different things. But if you do have questions along the way, please do ask, and I'll either jump in straight away and try and answer them. Otherwise, I'll also try and bring them up at the end as well. But there'll be plenty of time for all that jazz. All right, I'm going to try and share screen. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this is probably a bit small at the moment, but I'm going to zoom in and just kind of walk everyone through what my goals were for the year. So I had a number of different goals. We're talking goals around YouTube. So I wanted to hit 1,000 subscribers, and then the stretch goal is 2,000 subscribers afterwards. I want to do a month would be nice to try and earn some revenue from YouTube. At the moment, that's sitting at 0. I have a goal around to build my share portfolio to 400,000. I have a goal to do 2,000 kilometers running. I have a goal to do 12 half marathons this year, to listen to 12 audiobooks, to complete at least 3 video games, to have 11 guests on my podcasts, to get 100 podcast fans. And that's actually followers, people that have actually signed up. Well, not signed up, sorry, I guess hit that follow, which is on Spotify. That's the stat I'm using. And also I have some, goals around my reselling business as well, which I would like to hit $100,000 in revenue, which is every time I say it makes me a little nervous. But it's yeah, that's essentially my goals. And I've just got some numbers along here. So it's a big year for me. And for those that don't know, I kind of stepped away from working the 9 to 5 and just taking a chance on me to really focus on putting in the time, the same time I was spending working, but, back into my passion projects, back into, what would happen if I took that same chance on me, which in this case has been around the reselling to make some income, and the running, and also my YouTube, but also to really build out my Further Your Lifestyle podcast, which has really been an ambition and passion and dream and a goal for a very, very long time, which I've neglected. So that's essentially what we're here to talk about, is to keep myself honest and to give you guys an update as well, and be that transparent, have that transparent chance to give authentic truth and what's working, what's not, and to take that feedback. So exciting stuff. All right, I'll just quickly jump back at while we're, this is good. Everyone's just introducing, saying hi to each other. This is great. Oh yeah, I can see Nicole and Toby are having a good chat. This is great. This is what I want to see. All right, well, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the YouTube analytics. I always love jumping into the YouTube analytics just because it's always going to tell a story. It's, having a goal of trying to grow my YouTube, I try to keep a focus on it, see what's working, what's not. And it's been a good month. So if I jump over to how we went for March, and hopefully we can all see this. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty good on size on screen. All right, so it's coming out of February. I'll be 100% frank. There was a bit of I had a moment where I was a bit frustrated, just because I've been doing YouTube for like 5-6 years, and I've been putting out consistent content almost weekly for every week for the last 5 years. And sometimes it can get frustrating when you don't get some of the results that you're looking for, but also, you're seeing how everyone else is progressing, seeing what they're achieving. But I had a good chat to my mate Kevin Exconde. If anyone else knows him, I'm sure many of you do. You've probably seen me mention him in some of my videos. We had a good chat, and I was just kind of venting, and I knew what I had to do. I had to take some actions and do some different things, and the March stats are really showing that. So as we can see here, I wanted to be a bit more intentional with my content and be a bit more direct and just share a bit more and not try and, beat around the bush. And I started to do that with my what sold videos on a weekly basis, short and sweet, just trying to give that update on a regular basis and not just holding it out for the end of the month. I've really found that has picked up a lot of more traction from a lot of different people, but also around some of the content I'm creating with my running as well, that, trying to be a bit more, have a bit more intent of how that can, relate to people that I'm not just runners as well, because obviously now I have that split community. So in terms of views, I'm up 1.3 thousand views, which is a huge growth since February, which is great. And obviously it's a bigger month as well, but only by a couple of days. But it's encouraging to see this, that I've, took some actions, took some steps to make this happen. And we're seeing the results here. So I've done 9 videos once again, and they've come out quite well. Watch time's up, not by huge amounts, but enough to make me feel like this is great. Subscribers, I've grown 40 subscribers. Now, if we look back in Feb, I only grew 8, and this month I've grown 40. So I feel like a lot of that's come from the reselling community. So if you are new here and watch this on the replay, I do appreciate it. It's great to have you here, and yo, what's up? So it's been really good. And as you can see, the growth has been happening over the years. And January, since I obviously took a bit more chance on jumping in on what I want to achieve, it's evident that that time is starting to pay off. In terms of top videos for this period, for March, that is, I've still got my video marathon 2019 still taking the lead for this month. It's been running for the lead for the last couple of months, and it kind of just got stuck into the algorithm a bit. So that's nice, bringing more people over. But the rest of the content that's been flying this month has basically just been reselling stuff. As you can see, what's sold, 100K revenue update, my biggest selling week, and all that jazz. So it's really good to see that starting to pop up and being the consistent, because really that's a lot of the content that I'm doing at the moment. But I'm not going to stop doing my running, of course. Yeah, that's a good point, Toby. It really is, and I've been thinking about how I want to do that. It's because what's good about that is it challenges me to think differently of how I want to record, film, or share it. So 100%. And I do have an update on that because I finished my first game for the year as well. So, but that's some great feedback. You've got a very good point there. Plus, it just shows people what I'm been playing as well. Yeah, no pressure on the running. I mean, if you want to run for your own health and mentality and whatnot, then do it. But no pressure, buddy. No pressure at all. And for those that don't know, Flipper, he did a 10K what sold video if I was able to get up to a certain amount of subs in one of his live streams he did with myself, and we did that, and he did it. He did a great job and absolutely smashed it. And it wasn't just a normal run. He did a trail run out in the middle of the outback, I guess, for those that aren't Australian. So yeah, it was good stuff. Really do appreciate it, mate. So if we jump across to reach, all the numbers are showing up. Impressions are up, click-throughs up, views are up, and unique viewers are up. So this is really exciting, really encouraging. What's interesting is my content that is starting to grow it's coming from browse features and YouTube search, which is great to be able to see. It means that it's not just my subscribers seeing it, but it's also people are actually honing in to look for it. And if it comes down to a YouTube search, what's interesting though is it's still my marathon content that is actually starting to take, a jump, which is still 2 years old. I'm still looking forward to see where my reselling stuff will start to pop up here. And I do have the intent to do some like process stuff, or how I'm doing this, or how to up your game, and just lessons and whatnot. So hopefully that will start to trigger a bit more of the YouTube searching. Thanks, Toby. I really do appreciate it. Okay, I can do that. No pressure though. No pressure at all. So what's interesting is this month, a lot of my people coming to my channel has been from this video here. From another YouTube channel called On. They're a running shoe brand, and they did an episode in Melbourne. So I'm getting a lot of people jumping over from that. I'm not complaining, but it's also quite, just not encouraging to see that engagement. I won't jump into too much into this, but what I really want to say, anyone that's watching this that is a YouTuber and does YouTube, is if you're using chapters in your YouTubes, this is how to understand what's working and what's not. And it's a great way for people to come in, find what they want, and disappear, because let's be honest, it's better that they're here for 4 minutes of content that they want to see, rather than just coming in 1 minute and realizing I don't know what I'm looking at and disappearing. So even though your video might be 10 minutes long and they only watch 4 minutes, this way it helps them, it's kind of like choose your own adventure, or choose or come in and get what they want, because at the end of the day, a lot of us are just watching content for what we want to see. If it's not entertainment, it's for value. So I am trying to bring that, whether it's entertainment or value, to people as well. For my shorter videos around what sold that are only about 4 minutes, I haven't been putting the chapter marks because it doesn't make sense, because it is so short and sweet. Other than that, audience, what I've seen here is, viewers are coming back, but a lot of my audience is coming from new resellers. So I really do appreciate the love. So it's been quite exciting to see. Australia's up there. Other than that, there's nothing too much that's really sticking out as an outlier. New viewers has been huge for this month, so that's also quite encouraging as well. So yeah, it's good to see that. All right, well, that is the channel analytics. Obviously, I have a long way to go towards my 1,000 subs for this year, but I'm on track. I'm growing at a really good rate, and all I can thank is you guys that's being here and people supporting and encouraging. So it really is overwhelming when you get like a spike. I actually have grown So this morning when I woke up, I was at like 725, and now I'm at 734 since my latest video. So it's been quite encouraging to have people jump in. How do you find having the channel and having two topics you focus on? I got into reselling because health and want to combine the health and reselling on the channel. Not sure if I should. Look, it's a very good point. I've always had it as a running YouTube, and I didn't know how it was going to happen. But at the end of the day, my YouTube, I created it for running because that's all I knew. But then now that I've started to do other things, and when I was doing my training series, I started to share a bit more about myself, what I was doing, some of my hobbies, and people were interested. And it just made sense that I would just continue to share that. And also because I want to track the journey for myself, and I want to share the journey and, give people some, encouragement, inspiration, but also keep myself honest. I'm thinking, well, let's just show it out there. I did have some people jump off. I'll be honest. Some people like, oh, I didn't sign up for this, which is fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my YouTube channel. I'm here to create content, but I want to try and create content, for people to watch that they'll enjoy. I understand I can't expect everyone to want to watch everything. And I mean, I have people that watch just my running content, but they don't watch every running video either, right? So I think for you, just go for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's always not, people are curious about what people do, right? And I mean, I have my podcast, which is about people's passions, lifestyles, and hustles, and we're all curious cats, right? We also, when we see what other people are doing, it intrigues us. So you think about what you watch on YouTube, you're probably watching people do it yourself, or you're watching people do this process, or you're probably realizing you're going down this rabbit hole of different stuff. And that's because it intrigues you. So I say just do it, give it a go. You might have to change some of the naming that you have on your account. You've got keep, sell, donate. You don't have to either. I mean, give it a go, see what happens. But I think you'll find a lot of people are more than happy to hear and understand, because, we're all humans, and a lot of us just want to escape some of our own realities and hear what other people are doing. So go for it. Thank you very, very much. All right, so that's the YouTube stuff. But while we're still talking about YouTube, we're just going to jump back to the habit stuff. So if I think about my subs for this year, and I've got all laid out. So the way I track all my stuff is I could automate a lot of this, but I don't, because it's part of my routine to make sure I am doing what I want to do and tracking it. But it's good to see the growth, because you can see here, start of the year, it's been slow and steady, but it is growing up. And it's always nice. I love at the end of the day being able to jump in here and update these numbers. And it's just something to help me feel motivated. Obviously, there's days where there's negatives or zeros, but it's also part of the journey. And I think that helps build the resilience and mentality. It can be overwhelming at times, but it just, that's just the way I am. I like the numbers, and I love seeing the numbers. And that's why I have all this dashboard, is because it keeps me excited, it keeps me motivated, and keeps me encouraged. And it means that when I log in every morning, or, check out at night, I get to kind of say, okay, this is what I've achieved today, or, oh, it's nice to get a pat on the back, or it's just that way I like to see it. So that's around the YouTube stuff. Of course, if people do have questions on that, jump in, along the way, and we can jump back to it. And if you are watching this on the replay, leave a comment. More than happy for you to leave a question or ask a question, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So the next thing we're going to touch on then is the reselling stuff, which I know a lot of the people in the chat at the moment are part of the reselling team. So I haven't released my month results for March yet. So you are going to get a bit of a spoiler here, but I won't be going into all the detail, but I will be just kind of be talking about, how I've gone, and I'll zoom in a little bit. So, so for March, it has been my biggest month, which is great, both from a revenue, from a profit perspective. The numbers that you're seeing up in this top corner here, I'm not sure how well you are seeing those. Those numbers are almost accurate in terms of, some have been averaged out, but in terms of revenue, what I did was around, I've done just higher than 3,200, I think it was. And in terms of profit, I've come in just higher than that number there of 1,345. So margin was around 43% this month, and this video will come out on Wednesday down into the detail. But in terms of how we've progressed on a daily basis, I've got all the data here. So average revenue for the month of March per day was $104, which Um, Wait till you get to add that little extra to, it's always very exciting. So if I jump back to the start of the year, so in January I was averaging $63 per day. And then we jumped up to Feb, $98 per day, and now March we're at 104. So that growth is nice. Obviously, to get to my 100K revenue challenge, I have a long way to go and need some rapid growth. But the way I'm working at it is focusing on the milestone dates. So at the moment, my next milestone is the 10th of April, which I've already met. And that's total revenue, not per month, but total revenue. And then after I achieve that, I'll work on the next one. So I don't need to solve for the 100K right now. I need to be putting things and mindset in place to achieve it per each milestone. But if I'm trying to reach 100,000 now, I'm not going to be able to do it until I reach those other milestones. So just chipping it away and working at it, I think makes a huge difference, and also just doesn't overwhelm myself. So if we jump back here, so average items listed for the month per day was 5. Now, as you can see here, I do a 0, a 38, 0, 19, 4 days off, 30, 0, 0. So I like to show this data, and the reason why I like to track it so, I guess, religiously is because I know there's a lot of people are always saying it's like, oh, you have to do it daily, or you have to do it this or whatever, which I agree. There's probably a level of, what you put in is what you're going to get out, or help with the algorithm. But I can't do it daily because I'm working on so many different things. Now, yes, this is my source of income at the moment, but, I can't be spending all the time doing it. So what I try and do is I knuckle out 2 days, 1 day of pure thrifting, 1 day of pure listing. And then if I can shuffle anything in between, I will, if I have spare time, or prioritize it. But that's why you can see, 1 day I did 38 because I just got up in the morning and just boom, 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 just did it. So to answer that question straight up, no, this data isn't automated. I'm going to have to get to a point where I will need to do it because it will take too much time. But the reason why it's not automated at the moment is at the end of each day, I do a check-in with myself of, what I, achieved for my task list or whatnot. And while I do that, I update these numbers, and it's not coming from this sheet. It actually comes from a different sheet, which is just here, which I won't go into detail, but that's just how I'm tracking it. So when I'm checking in with myself on a daily basis of, okay, I had these 5 items I wanted to do. I only did 4. Okay, did I get any sales today? And I just do that. It takes me literally 5-10 minutes to do. Good way to check in. But I know that as I start to progress, it's going to get to the point where I'm going to want to automate it and put it into Google Sheets, because 1, it will save me time, and 2, I don't need to be looking at it as in such detail. So I might only need to check in weekly. But at the moment, I am trying to really focus down on what's working and what's not. Yeah, I know you, Toby, you're all about process improvement, so you'll keep me honest on that one. Average sold per day was 2 items, which is exciting. However, February, I had an average of 3 items. So not too fussed by that because my average revenue price is up. So I know one of the questions that I get a lot of the time, especially from you, Toby, is how much time am I spending on this? Now, I haven't been tracking it to the detail, but what I can say is, Tuesdays I go out thrifting from 9 o'clock and usually back by 3 o'clock. And then on Thursdays, I do a full day of listing from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock as well. Now, of course, there's all the maintenance, admin, packing and sorting and stuff between that, which happen on a daily basis. But I think I would be doing 100%, I would be doing between 2 to 3 days of working effort. So that would be, if we say 3 days, about 24 hours a week I'm spending total on all this jazz. So that's a stat that I'll want to start to track a bit more and have a bit more intention around, because there'll come a point of time of where I'm spending my time. And at the moment, I'm not too fussed by it because I have my workflow. But what I'm going to also have to do is apply that data against, which is some interesting data that I have in this next sheet. Let's see if I've still got it here. Yeah, so I've got some data here. Just ignore the top. But basically, if I look at if you can see this right here, I don't know how well you guys can see that, so I do apologize if it's not that big. Let me undo this. Maybe this will help. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. So Uh, thanks, man. I've been using spreadsheets for so long, and what I love is now that I'm not working for anyone else, I can just have it how I want it. Yeah. So what this is starting to tell me is where my focus should be. Looking at around 80-20 rule of, like, so for instance, 35% of my items being sold is DVDs, but they're bringing in 41% of my profit, right? So that starts to tell me that's maybe that item, toys, video games, and books. These are the ones that are driving the most revenue. So where I should be putting the most time. And I am starting to try out different stuff. And, I'm starting to put more effort into some clothes and t-shirts and things like that. But the things that I know will always work for me is DVDs and, around books as well, and some of the toys. And a lot of the toys are a bit more very specific. And I've actually removed the Lego from that because the Lego is a bit of more of a collectible kind of thing. But it's interesting to look at this data. And now that I'm 3 months in, this really does start to tell me the story of where I need to be focusing my time. Or not necessarily focusing, but where I know that I should be focusing my time. Because sometimes audio tapes, so when I say audio tapes, these are blank audio tapes, which, I can get 15 to 20 bucks per item, depending on the audio tape. But the thing is, you can't always find them, right? But if I find them, I'm going to put them up. Whereas DVDs, I'm guaranteed to almost find at least one DVD every time I go out for a thrift. So the data is very interesting, but it does make sense that, why would I try and just focus on shoes when it's not really bringing it in? Now, this doesn't mean that I have a lot of, so what I'm saying is I do actually have a lot of shoes listed. At the moment, I've probably got about 12 pairs of shoes listed. But the reason why I don't have such a big turnover is because I don't have such a variety. And my current area of where I'm sourcing shoes are like $15, $20 a pop at my op shops. There's just no room for margin. So these shoes that I've been able to get have either been from, just surprises, because they were marked really cheap, or I've ventured out and I've been able to get them from different shops. So this does really tell a different story because it dilutes it a little bit because, if I was buying more shoes, I'd probably be selling more shoes, but I don't have that access to those opportunities in my current area. Whereas I could probably start sourcing from Facebook Marketplace and things like that. But once again, it comes down to a time thing. No, this doesn't actually take a lot of time. So all this data is just coming from my what's sold, which is what I use to create all my reports. And then I just run a pivot and it just refreshes. So this does not take me a lot of time to do it all. Now it's starting to show me a lot of information, even this one down here. So this is starting to show me where my postage, so my sales and the postage paid to the sale. So for instance, usually my average sale postage at the moment is around $8.50. As you can see, and there's a few outliers and whatnot. And I'll be talking a bit more about this in my what's sold for the entire month and talking about how I've been able to save a lot more money in my postage this month and where I've improved that and lessons learned. But all this data starts to tell a story, and that's the whole purpose of why I do it. I know a lot of people get a bit scared by it, and I'm still trying to learn it. But you're doing so much data, you need to use it because it tells a story, right? So trying to understand it in different ways will go a long way. And of course, if you've got things to track, and I know you, Toby, you've got some pretty good stuff to track in the past as well, which you've challenged me with. So which is good, right? But if you're running a business, if you're doing this as a hobby, the numbers probably don't matter as much because you're just doing it for a bit of cash. But if you're doing it as a business, you need to know your numbers because you'll find out where you're bleeding, right? And I can give you a bit of a sneak peek up the top here, which will be revealed in my Wednesday video. But my average fee is still pretty high, but my postage has come down. So my average post at the moment is now $8.75. So it's come down about, last month it was around $10. So it's good to be able to see this stuff coming down, which is exciting and encouraging because, and I think those, understanding the data, where you're bleeding, what's costing, and, I've learned so many lessons in the last couple of months of how to package things better. And, if you can get it in a package, which is 3 centimeters, width smaller, you're going to save $2, right? And it all adds up when you're, doing hundreds of items or whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of like the dollar side of things at the moment, with the reselling. In terms of, I mean, this is as of today. Like, I checked it just before we jumped on here. So my total revenue for the year is $7,604, which is exciting. Which, I mean, that's not profit, that's revenue, right? So my profit is, at the moment, if you think my average margin at the moment at the end of March is 46%. So it's almost half that, in terms of what I'm profiting. So in terms of a weekly perspective, I'm earning about $584 a week, and profit is probably half that. So it's really just enough to pay for rent kind of thing. So I need to up my game a lot. I love seeing this as well. What's moving, what's progressing, and all that jazz. It's quite exciting. I'm just going to pause for a second and have a drink. Got 11 people. If anyone's jumped in and hasn't kind of caught on, so at the moment we're just kind of going through my reselling update and progress, how I've been progressing, and one of my goals was to hit $100,000 this year, but focusing on these milestones at a point in time. We touched on the YouTube stats earlier, so if you do have questions around that, please do ask. Otherwise, what we're going to jump into next is probably just going to quickly answer some of the how I'm progressing on some of the smaller goals, and then I'm going to jump into the running content. But so one of the goals I had this year was video games. I wanted to complete 3 video games. When I say complete, it's just start to finish. So I've done one. The first game was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a game I picked up at the end of last year, and I finally was able to finish it. I finished it, I think it was a week ago, a week and a half ago, and now I've started to play. I'm actually playing a few different games. I've got a whole bunch of different things, and that's the thing. Sometimes when it comes to games, I need to be able to play them with less amount of friction. So, if it's online or whatever. So just trying to, just trying to figure that out. So my next game that I'm playing is probably Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Borrowed that off my girlfriend, Carla. So I've been playing that. It's quite exciting, but it's a big game. So I am playing multiple games at the same time. I am playing a Game Boy game on my emulator, which is Tactics Ogre. I've got a new game on Steam, which is called Loop Hero, which is quite cool. That just came out, and whatnot. So I'm playing a few different things, seeing if I'm enjoying them or not. But the intent is to finish 3 video games, and the whole purpose of that goal is to ensure that I am slowing down and just taking some rest time for myself. And I just had a question from Drew and Sam. Yeah, okay. So next audiobook, which is actually the next thing I was going to touch on, was, so the first one that I did was I think it was called, it's something to do with action. The Law of Action was the first book I read at the start of this year. And the second one, which is actually happening at the moment, is Finding Ultra by Rich Roll. That book is amazing, and I'm almost finished it. I've been doing a few more longer runs of late, and it's great listening to audiobooks while running, especially if they're about running. But yeah, so that's what I've been listening to at the moment. Finding Ultra, and then I've got a few different books. I've got the is it Shoe Dog, the Nike one, and I've got a few others in there that I need to pick up. But the problem is I always get so many different people saying, oh, read this, and then I want to focus on what I'm interested in, not just listening to everyone's recommendations. However, if it's a recommendation that looks really intriguing, I'll add it to the listen. This audiobook section will start to jump up probably from June-ish, because I'll be starting to train for my first ultra marathon, which means I'll be doing a lot more long runs. So I'll be able to smash through them. At the moment, I'm still averaging around 6K per run. So we'll get to that shortly. Oh, nice. Ever play Blake? Does it? Yeah, Black Flag was good. I didn't get to play that as much, so I can't really answer that as such. However, there's a few new combat systems and RPG system in this, which I'm really, really loving. And it kind of makes me feel like Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls. But it's super customizable around how you want to make decisions, what you want to do. You can change things at any time, which is cool. Yeah, but I've only played a few hours in terms of actual content. So it's a bit hard to say at this point, but it's super exciting. I'm enjoying it. That's for sure. Yeah, it's super good. I'm almost finished it, actually. And yeah, I mean, his podcast, Rich Roll's podcast, is he's such a dude. The guy, he's just just insane on a whole nother level. So if anyone wants to up your game in your life, listen to Rich Roll, because he's got a podcast. He's got some pretty cool stuff there. So it's not just about running, but it's just life and, you know, doing better and things like that. So yeah, check that out for sure. So the other thing while I'm here is, before I jump into running, is my share portfolio. So one goal that I wanted to try and do is, you know, challenge myself with taking a bit more intent of, I mean, I have a structure of how I invest, and I need to probably do a bit more detail on this and share with people. But, you know, my rule of thumb has always been, you know, don't put in more than what I'm not willing to lose in terms of, you know, as I invest. So at the moment, I try and invest around $1,000 per month, give or take. And I want to try and, you know, start to increase that, just because, you know, I want to see that growth. But at the same time, I'm not just doing investments in shares. This also includes like Bitcoin as well. But a few other areas that's not included in these numbers is, you know, a few investments in, I've done some investments in Pokemon cards. I've done some investments in a few other little things as well. You can probably see in my background, I've got a whole bunch of Lego and Pokemon cards and stuff. So I am doing them as some side investments as well, which I want to start to build out a bit more. And, you know, I want to release on, you know, some of that side income as well. But I haven't really got into it too much, and I haven't had it long enough to be able to know. I'm not flipping cards as such, but more just buying and holding and seeing if it's going to be an opportunity. But I do want to break some of them as well, like open some of the packs. But I'm excited to open them because I want the excitement and adrenaline. But then I feel like if I don't open them, I'm still going to have that excitement, and I don't want to open them and then not get anything, because then I want to buy more. So it's a bit of a trap as well. So just trying to be mindful of that and balance it. But in terms of, coming back to the share portfolio, so just trying to build that out a bit more, not necessarily take more risks, but, you know, just be a bit more open to, you know, broadening that out a bit more and whatnot. So, I mean, we've had some pretty good growth this year already. I'm up this year by, I think it's by, can't remember what percentage it is, but yeah, it has grown, as you can see. We're not high by much, but I think it's about by $9,000, so not too bad. We'll do the running, then I'm going to jump onto my podcast and update there. Of course, if anyone has questions along the way, please do ask. For the running, I know for the resellers, this might not be that interesting, but for any runners that are here, please reveal yourself. Otherwise, if you're watching this in the replay, you know, let me know as well. But so a couple of goals that I had for running this year was to build a consistency. I wanted to make sure that my ratio of 10-kilometer runs is higher than normal, because my main goal for this year is to do a 50K, which is an ultra marathon. So the best way to achieve that is to build time on feet, and to also keep my heart rate low and just build that good foundation of just endurance. Best way to do that is to slow down and to just, you know, get time on feet. So the best way I figured to do that is to, you know, start to build my baseline of what I would say is a, you know, my normal weekend run, which was a 5K. I want to build that to a 10K, so that, you know, if I'm saying I'm going out to do a 5K, to me, that would actually be a 10K, and start to build that mentality and consistency. So in March, pretty average month, we've averaged around 7.82 kilometers, so a little bit higher than Feb, about the same as Jan. Max distance was 26K in one single run. I guess in terms of the focus items here is average pace. I'm not trying to do speed, but I am trying to maintain a consistency. So at the moment, I'm doing around a 650 pace. Heart rate is dropping. I'm sitting at around an average of 146 heart rate while running, which is nice. Last year, it was about 155. So still want to get that down to that 140, but this is in my zone too, so it is pretty good. In terms of one of the other goals that I had for this year for my running was I wanted to do a half marathon every month for the entire year. So that's 12 half marathons. Don't need to be races, don't need to be, you know, PBs or anything, but just that consistency. And I set that goal to ensure that I am building and keeping my, I guess, you know, time on feet up, and making sure that I am pushing myself, because between races or between events, you know, I start to drop down. And because my ultra marathon isn't till September, I won't start training for that fully till June, which means I've got a bit of a dip at the moment. So I want to make sure I'm just keeping myself honest. So I did my third half marathon on the 31st of March. It was a nice one, actually. It was pretty good, 2 hours and 22 minutes. If you haven't checked out the video, do. The thing I love about running is it's an emotional roller coaster, and you really, you have to push through it physically, mentally, and it's just a chance to really get to know yourself. And if you watch that and check out the end of how I finish, it really does break me down and just gives me tears of joy. So if anyone's interested in running and you're not sure what people get a kick out of it for, my videos, I try to share that in there, because for me, running was for weight loss. Then it became something that I love to do, and it's fun and exciting. And it became, kind of more of I just love to see the growth. But now I do it more for the mental state as well. I mean, I love running for the fun of it as well, but it helps with the mentality too. I saw a comment from Toby. What do we go? Remember doing exercise? Now it's an exercise to get off the couch, for others to lift me. That's how it feels sometimes. Yeah, I should get back out. Yeah, look, I get it. For me so I struggle to do other exercise. Like, I do a bit of yoga and stretching and stuff that I need to do to ensure that I manage my injuries, in injury prevention, and also just keep me top notch in terms of, ready to get out and run. But when it comes to the other exercising and stuff like that, I struggle with that. I'm not motivated to do it. Back in the day when I was doing weight loss, I was motivated to do that and the running, whereas now I just love the running. But that can be a bit of a trap. So finding a routine or a way to implement that, it's key for anyone, even if it's not for just, you're trying to lose weight. But I think it's important that we have some level of fitness in our lives. One, because it's good for your mental state, good for your health, of course, especially as we get older. Plus, you just feel so much better afterwards. Well, I do. But I understand, and I can appreciate that it's not as easy as people post on Instagram and things like that. So, hey, dude, if you need some help or, want some encouragement, more than happy to send some your way. So get out there and get it done. But seriously, like if you genuinely, have any questions or whatever, do let me know. So that's the running stuff. So, I mean, I've mentioned it quite a few times already. My intent is to do a 50K ultra marathon this year. That will be in September. I have actually, hearing it here first, I've actually already signed up. That opened up earlier this month. So I've signed up. That's locked and loaded. Training plan will come June. I'll be doing a full series on that, like I did for my backyard marathon. And that one will be, hopefully, it will be an actual event. When, fingers crossed, nothing changes in terms of restrictions and stuff. The intent is to do that down near Torquay, Anglesea. It's called the Surf Coast Century, and it's a 50K. There's also a 100K, but I'm just doing the 50K. So that's the running update there, and it's been a pretty good month. Pretty happy with it. I really want to up it up. I want to really up it this month in April, just because I need to build that base a little bit more in lead up to June, because I don't want to be starting at a really low base in June and having to ride up so high. I want to have a good, nice, strong base already that I can, if my base is already, I don't know if you can see this, my base is here. I want it to be a bit here because I'm going to have to get to here. So it just means I don't have to reach as high when it comes to that training period. So yeah, that's the running stuff. So just going to take a quick drink and jump back to the dashboard. All this talking, it's makes my lips dry and it's tiring. But I appreciate you all being here, and if you are here on the replay, so thank you very much. It's good stuff. Oh, the other running thing was that I'm trying to get 2,000 kilometers for the year. At the moment, I'm at 389. That's at the end of last month. So I'm about 100K behind what I need to be doing to get there. But I'm pretty confident that once I start my training plan, I'm going to be doing 40 to 2 hour runs quite a lot. So that will start to jump up quite quickly. All right, let's jump into the podcast. So for those that don't know, I have a podcast called Further Your Lifestyle. Basically, it's a pivot of my business called Furry, which was called Further Your Lifestyle, which was around, encouraging people to pursue their passions with I guess, using apparel as a way, as a medium to promote that and, to represent people's lifestyles and encourage people to do that, inspire them to aspire further. Now, I've always had the ambition to, make the podcast, and I finally did that on the 28th of February. So it's been out for a good month now. It's been really well received, and I'm super encouraged by it. It's I'm going to share my screen to show how that's all progressing, if that opens up. So in terms of how the podcast is going at the moment, so we're currently sitting at 94 downloads since published, and nearly at that 100 mark, which is super exciting. And I'm across all platforms at the moment. So I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, my actual website, Google Podcasts. I'm also got the YouTube channel for it, which is a separate YouTube channel for a video experience, because I am filming my guests. And I've only done my first guest episode. I've got 2 more people lined up to interview. One's happening this week. And then I've got 2 other candidates that I need to schedule. And then, I'll be, taking more. But I've got a whole list of people that I'm actually, super keen to have on here. And I haven't necessarily reached out yet, but I want to try and get that nice backlog of them. I'm just going to answer this question. When you start your training, how we have time for research? Well, so the good thing about reselling is, and training, so my running, I run not every morning, but 5 times a week anyway. So at the moment, now that it's daylight savings changed as well, it's daylight by 6:30. So I can go out and do a 2-hour run, be back by 8:30, have some breakfast. And I usually start my reselling days or thrifting days at around 9:30, 10. So usually for thrift day, I'd start at 9, go out, get to the first shop at 9:30, get back by 3. So the training for the ultra, it will take a bit of a toll in terms of just being a bit more tired and stuff like that. But I'm not too fussed by it at all, to be honest, because this is my gig that I'm doing. I have my own time working for myself. I'm able to have that flexibility and do it when I want. But I run in the morning, early morning, and a lot of my reselling I can do in between, whatever time for the day, but a lot of that is between, 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And, I can also do batch listing in the evenings while listening to music, listening to a podcast, or playing some online games or something like that. So that's how I intend to do it. I don't think it'll be a big issue, but of course I'll be doing updates, sharing it along the way. So I will be, keeping myself honest and being able to play it back. And but I have no concerns with that, to be honest. So podcast is going well. Look, it's the thing that I'm loving about everything that I'm doing at the moment is I'm getting out of my comfort zone, especially for this podcast, reaching out to different people, having conversations, maybe experiencing a bit of rejection, or, not getting the results that I want to see as quickly as I want them, and things like that. But it's like with anything that we do, what you put in is what you'll get out. And at the same time, it's not going to happen overnight. So, I'm being very intentful of how I want to do this, and I'm trying to pivot, adjust, and, learn from what the data is telling me. Obviously my guests, content is going to eventually be the main focus of the podcast. And, that's going to take a little bit of time, just to build some traction, because people don't know who these people are. And I don't want to bring, people on here that I want to have to a big audience and not give them the audience they deserve. So it is a bit of a timing, but I'm going to press onwards and upwards regardless, releasing an episode every Sunday, whether it's me or with a guest. And at the moment I'm enjoying it. I am learning. I had to learn the hard way of what it's like editing a podcast, let alone editing a podcast with a guest and with video. So it's a learning experience, but I'm enjoying it very much so. And you can check out, I've got the website. For those that don't know what the thing is about, it's conversations on lifestyle, passions and hustles, sharing insights, understanding and lifestyle stories with the intent to bring you, or the person listening, things which will enable you, things which will inspire you, and things which will motivate you to pursue these yourselves. So whether it is a side hustle of reselling, whether it is someone that does skateboarding for a living, or maybe it's people that just have a passion with pottery. Those are all the things that I want to explore, and that's why I think it's important that if you do want to bring other stuff to your channel, you start to share it, because I guarantee you there's plenty of people that are curious about this stuff, and it's amazing what people do as a full-time, to make a living. And not to spoil too much, but my next guest on the podcast, they've got a number of different gigs. They do poetry, they do modeling, they're a Zumba instructor, and they're even a holistic healer. So they've got a whole bunch of different things that I'll be discussing about. And it just goes to show that we all have, something weird and wonderful. We have amazing different talents. And a lot of the time we don't realize the influence we have. So, tapping into that with an everyday person, which, to us, they look like everyday people, but really, they have these superpowers or strengths, which we all have them, but a lot of us don't realize it until we start to have that conversation. So if you do have one of those side hustles or passions, I'm curious to know about it. So let me know. But don't be shy to share it, and I think it's important to be able to share that, because a lot of the time, a lot of people will be interested. So that's the podcast. 6 episodes in, episode 7 coming out this Sunday as well. So it's been very exciting. It's been a great journey to learn. It is a bit of work, and I was hoping to have, a bit more of a backlog at the moment, but I haven't got that backlog yet. So really having to continue to do work on it each month. Each week. So it is keeping me honest, but that's okay. It's not too bad at the moment. All right, so that is the podcast. Where is my thing gone? Oops, let me adjust this. Okay, so look, that's the main stuff that I wanted to cover today, which was the reselling, the YouTube, the running, the podcast, and answer any questions and things like that. Which so if you have questions, please do ask. My passion is D&D and Eurovision. Here, reselling is just a side thing for funds and extra. So what's D&D? Is that Dungeons and Dragons, or am I don't know. D&D. I'm gonna wait for you to respond. D&D. We'll find out in a minute, I guess. But yeah, look, that's interesting. Reselling is just a side, for extra cash, which is, that's the beauty of it, is it can be, anyone can jump into it, and you don't have to be doing it full time. Yep, Dungeons and Dragons. That's really interesting. So I was at the shops with Carl the other day, and I saw this. I'm super curious to play it sometime or suss it out, because I've seen Twitch streamers or YouTubers, streaming this and doing it, and it looks super curious. Super cool, super fun. And I remember watching, what was it? I think it was Stranger Things, and they did it on there, and it was just cool. It sounds like a lot of fun, and it's probably like a lot of the video games I play anyway, in terms of the dungeons and mystery and finding loot and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool, man. Do you share anything on that? Like, do you have anything where you share that content, or do you just go to things and do it? Because that stuff excites me. Even though I might not do it myself, I love watching it and hearing it, because I love seeing that excitement. So thanks for sharing that, dude. All right, so anyone have any questions? We've got 7 people in the chat. I'm just going to have a quick look and see what we've got here. How can I see this? Yeah, if you've got questions, do let me know. Don't think I can really see anything else, actually. Let me fix this. Back to me. No, it's just me and my son teaches him lessons in a fun way. Been a while though. Yeah, okay. Do you submit all your sales to Dexia? So this is an interesting point. I actually have, well, I was hoping it was already going to be happening, but I have an appointment with my accountant coming up, and I've talked to him about with the lifestyle change and all that jazz. So we are going through that process of just making sure it's getting all set up. I am tracking things at the moment to make sure of that I'm getting all the details, but I've also reached out to him to say that, look, coming from a professional services background, working the desk at an office, to now working for myself. Obviously, there's a few different ways things can work, and logistics, and what I can reimburse and what I can't. So going through that process just to make sure that I'm putting some processes in place as early as possible in this game, because obviously I want to step it up and continue to scale. So I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And it's better to be able to have that conversation before I start to do my tax, so I'm not having to do a lot of rework or extra work to try and backtrack and figure it all out. So yes and no to answer your question honestly, because I haven't had that meeting yet. But yes, I'm tracking everything, and that's really good for my sheets as well, stuff. But obviously I've got different tabs and stuff for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I want to make sure I'm maximizing that, especially into the new financial year come July as well. So yeah, definitely something to focus on. I know a lot of people do it different as well. So I've been watching a few different people's videos of how they've done it, what they've done, or what their accountant has said. So it's always interesting to hear that, because everyone has their different things or hear different stuff. Obviously, it should end up being the same, because we have to follow the law. But yeah, that's my answer for that one. All right. Any other questions, folks? And if you are here on the rewatch party or replay, feel free to leave a comment if you're hearing this as well. In terms of content that's coming out for this week, I've got what sold for March, and deep dive into the analytics. That's coming out on Wednesday. On Saturday, I'll have a running video, and then I'll get back into routine. If you're tracking for tax, then you'll track your time, and then you can do your hourly rate. Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I'm just eating an egg again. Yeah, it's a very good point. At the moment, I'm averaging it out. It's a bit hard because I need to be careful, because one of the questions that I'm working with my accountant through is I'm setting up or restructuring my business model, because I want to make sure I'm setting it all up under the right way, because I will eventually be earning revenue from YouTube. I'm obviously earning money from the reselling, and then from the podcast and the business. There's actually a business behind the podcast as well, which is very, I sell stuff there as well. So I need to put all that into factor and work out what's the best way to do that. Because obviously I'm spending time on everything and how that plays out. And I also, not to share too much, I actually am working on another business, which I had been working on with my girlfriend for a long time ago, which I want to kick off from FY22. And that's the other thing I need to put into play as well. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't make it that complex, and maybe it's just a matter of tracking the time regardless to each one, how much hours or whatever. But you're right, with the reselling, I think the time one is super important. Plus it helps me tell me, what's my bang for buck. So it's a very good point. Oh, we've got 10 people watching. So I've had a few more people jump in. So if you are new here, or sorry, not new here, but if you are just jumping in and you haven't heard so far, so Bish has been going for my goals. I might just share my screen again so anyone can see. This is my dashboard that I've been tracking. We've kind of gone through everything. We've gone through YouTube. We've gone through the reselling. We've gone through some of the smaller goals. We've gone through the running. We've gone through the podcast. We're just going through a bit of Q&A at the moment. So if you do have a question, do ask, or if you're curious, or if you're a lurker and haven't said anything, do say hi. Don't be too shy. Jeff, my man, I think this happened the same time last time. As I start to wrap up, you start to get home. I really do appreciate you being here, buddy. Time zone challenges, that's for sure, 100%. I appreciate you being here and dropping in. I appreciate that, Toby. So the way some of the books that I've listened to, like the E-Myth Revisited, and some of those books. There's so many different books, and I did a podcast on it. But what I'm trying to do now is put in place processes and systems that will work for whether I'm selling one thing or doing one podcast or managing one business or one customer, but that it can work as if I'm doing it with 1,000 sales or 1,000 customers or 1,000 podcast, whatever it is, right? So I want to be able to put that into play, spend the time this, I kind of just want to do it for this year and just get things right, because I got to think about it. I'm not just doing this for a year. Yes, I'm experiencing it, have goals for the year, but the end game is, I want to be able to, work for myself, full time and make a living from it. So to do that, I need to think longer term. And though I can't necessarily do things right now that will get me that end result, I can be putting smaller steps in place that over time will ensure that those bigger results will come. So that's my approach and thinking. Of course, the journey is what's going to take all the work, and me doing this and showing up and putting the efforts in and understanding the data and trying to pivot and adjust and learn from it, because that's the only way. I've got no one else telling them it other than feedback and you guys in here and whatnot. So that's really the way I'm trying to take it on. And of course there'll be difference of opinion. Everyone will have their different ways of working or suggestions, which is 100% fine. So that's the way I'm trying to approach it. So I appreciate that. That's all right, Jeff, man. I mean, it's no good. I mean, I haven't even been in one of your streams, but I love that you stream and stuff, and I just appreciate you dropping by. It's always nice that even though we don't always chat that much, always when you connect with someone else you've been part of the YouTube community for a very, very long time. It's always nice to just say hi and brings a smile to the face. So thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Well, I just give everyone a bit more chance if they have any other questions. We've still got 12 people watching. So some of the other things that I haven't even got listed here is, and I mentioned it last stream, was around my some of the other things that I'm doing. So one of the other things that is, I'm trying to remove the friction to enable me to get back to playing drums. I haven't put it as a goal as such on here, but I would really like to get back to playing my drums and, putting a bit more intent there. Along with the video games and the share portfolio, I mentioned a bit around, Pokemon. So I've just been spending a bit of time and enjoying the freedom of, getting into that, having a bit more time into the hobby. I've got a whole bunch of Pokemon cards here in the back. So like I've picked up some Shining Fates. I've got an ETB behind here. I've got a whole bunch of Lego as well. I just picked up the bonsai tree. Just trying to avoid that light shining on it. I've got the ETB at the back there. I've got booster boxes. I've got some of my, just collecting some of the cards that I enjoy. I've got the Pika here. I've got a nice Dragonite. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just trying to adjust it. And these two guys as well. So just, enjoying some of that freedom of, reliving some of the childhood and whatnot as well, which has been exciting. And I've also started to get a bit back into Dragon Ball Z and things like that. So, I have a lot of different interests that I still don't even share on my channel and stuff. So it's always very exciting to be able to just continue to share that and talk about it. And I've tried to bring that into my Instagram as well. But, some of that I would start to incorporate into my channel. I just got to figure out how and when, because it all takes time. The other thing that I also did this month was I added videos to TikTok, which is starting to help with the reselling too. Goku Runner, thanks for being here, mate. Yeah, I really do appreciate that, man. Yeah, I know every comment you've been giving me has always been that you've enjoyed that stuff, so I really do appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. Oh, thanks, man. Likewise. Oh, feeling the love. And this is the thing that, there's been so many things that I've left in my dev pile. Dev pile means, you've just got it there and you haven't listed it. But the problem is, if you don't list it, it can't sell. So it's a loss of opportunity, right? So if you get it, list it. If it takes 5 days or 40 days, then great, you've sold it. But if you don't list it, it's still going to then take that time again. So you're losing that opportunity. So, dude, that's super great, man. What surprises me and continues to surprise me every time is, one, people buy stuff at really weird times, and the stuff that people buy. Like, I've sold things from blank tapes. I've sold wooden trains. I've sold hats. I've sold a single action figure, like just a loose figure that I picked up. I've sold stuff off the side of the road. It's just bizarre. What yeah it really is surprising what people will buy, and what sells, and that's what I love about it, right? It's, you never really know. And it's also, what's exciting is that you can have something sitting there for 90 days and you think, maybe I need to take it off or donate it, maybe it's not going to sell, and then all of a sudden someone will just buy it full price or out of nowhere. And what always intrigues me is, like, I wonder what that story is. Like, why is that person buying this at that time, or what triggered it? Was it a conversation with their loved ones, or did they watch something that influenced them? It's really intriguing, right? So it's I do love the thrill of that. It's very, very encouraging to be able to put something out there, get the result, and see it come through. Oh, thanks, man. So do you take offers? I get like, yeah, no. So I have a store, and I have about 450 listings at the moment, and I have it as buy it now with best offer. And the way I usually price things is two ways. I either price it basically a little higher, knowing I am going to get a low ball offer or an offer, or I price it at a price that I would be happy with, knowing that I might, be happy with a little less as well, because most people will give you an offer. But if someone gives me an offer, so the way I do this is I put everything in there with free postage. So if something was $40 and $10 postage, I would list it for $50 and list it with free postage. So if people start to say, okay, can I have it for $40? Now, if I know it's worth $40, but I still have to pay $10 postage, I will say to them, look, I'll remind them, hey, look, I'll take 45. I still need to pay postage out of my own expense. And to be honest, that has worked so well. A lot of the time people will respond and say, oh, I didn't even realize it was free postage. Or they say, yep, I'll meet you in the middle. That's perfect. And, a lot of the time my average cost of goods is like $3. So if I'm getting $45 for it, my postage usually isn't $10. My postage by default is around $9.15. That's a standard price here in Australia, but I'm on a postage business band, which means I get up to 20-30% discounts. So what would normally be $9.15, I'm paying as little as $7.66 or around there somewhere. So you're saving around $1.50, $2 there, and that adds up over a lot of items. So that's my approach. And some things, if I don't have the price, I'll just put it way up there and let people come back, because once again, if I put something up for $150 and someone offers me $100 and I got it for $3 and I don't think I'm going to get anything higher, I'll take it. But if I know the value of something, no, I'm not giving in, because a lot of people will play dumb or play stupid to try and, I was like, oh, this isn't worth much. Or so I had a set of 5 books, which I purchased, must have been around $24. And yes, I purchased them for $25, and I still had the price tags on them from the shop because I could not get them off. I tried every single way possible. If I pulled it off, it was going to rip the pages. And someone commented me, say, look, dude, I'm going to give you the price that the postage, that the price tag's saying, because you're trying to make money off me. And I said, look, dude, this is as stated in there. I have left them on there from when I purchased them myself, and because I do not want to wreck the books. He's right. I'm doubling my money, whatever. But he lowballed me, tried to come up a little bit, and I said, no, I'm not going to have it. The next day, someone paid for full outright. So knowing what something's worth versus, caving is also very key. Thanks for answering. Great insight. So what are the answers to having a store? So advantages of having a store for me has been, so I can have up to, I can have up to 600 items, and I don't have to pay a listing fee. So I think, depending on country, I'm not sure, but in Australia, you get like 30 free listings per month. and then you have to start paying for a listing. Now, for me, obviously, because I'm doing this full time, I'm not going to have 30 listings. I'm going to have a lot more. So it means I can have more for free, and it also brings down the cost by a little bit amount in terms of average for a total for per month. I've also managed this with eBay payments as well, managed payments, and that slightly brings it down in terms of fees. So fees still come down, but fees are around on average 15%, which are just crazy. But I have started to dabble in Facebook Marketplace as well. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're paying 15% and you get access to the entire world to advertise your item, it's not too bad, right? I mean, if you had a store of a t-shirt and you were paying Facebook to market that, you might get, for $5, you might get 800 impressions, but you're guaranteed. So you're not guaranteed to get a sale. For me, I do promote some, but I'm not promoting majority of my stuff, and I'm paying 15% and I get access to the whole world based on a search criteria. If I then do a promoted listing, it just bumps it up higher and puts it in front of more eyeballs. So it's not too bad, really. Oh, thanks very much, man. I haven't actually reset my stats, so I don't know if it's much. Oh, I can see that you shared something on Instagram. Thanks really much, man. Thanks so much. Feeling the love. So I'm sitting at 739. Not too bad. Wow. Thank you so much. All right, there's a bit of a lag between comments. I can see, Goku, you've commented on the actual YouTube. It hasn't popped up for me to click it yet. There we go. All right, so I have a bunch of old records that look like they'll sell on eBay. I just don't know how I'd ship them safely. Yeah, okay. This is a good point. So you can offer free pickup and things like that. I've never posted them before. I mean, Toby, Captain, you might actually be able to answer this for Goku. There's other people in the chat previously that would be able to do it, but the way I would do it, when I think about postage, is, especially if you're selling with care, is post them how you would want to receive them. That's the greatest way you can answer. So if you would want to receive them and they're all covered, they're secured, they're in a nice big box, that's how you do it. And just make sure you incorporate that into your costing, right? So if they're worth $100, but postage is going to cost you $30, make sure you understand that. But the best way you can do it is ship them how you would want to receive them. So, for me, if it comes to a record, I would probably be making sure that, well, one, they're covered up, obviously in their packaging, bubble wrap them, whether it's once or twice, and then make sure they're in a box that has filler, making sure that they can't shuffle around, that they can't get bent, and things like that. Yeah, all this stuff. Yeah. The scratch situation is good as well. Make sure any kind of media make sure you know what it was beforehand, because if anyone wants to do a dodgy and say, oh, this is now scratched, when it wasn't, and all that jazz. So it's always good to keep track of that. Oh, this is good. Good chat. Still got 12 people in the chat, which is great. If you haven't said hi, make sure you do say hi. Appreciate you being here. I'll just pop that back up for Goku. But Goku, I mean, there's heaps of resellers in the US that are doing this, so you should be able to find it quite quickly on YouTube. Yeah, look, actually, Captain, this is a good thought. And actually, what was curious, I see you sell some really random tapes as well. And I'm curious, do you just sit in the op shop and just look them up, or have you actually made a bolo list over the time? Thanks all. Have you ever gotten a bad rating from something? No. So at the moment, my eBay store is 100% perfect rating, and I've had 291 feedbacks. Now, obviously, there will come a time where that will probably change. I have had a refund, a return, and just went through it, even though I didn't agree with it. Just didn't want to cause a fuss. But the way I well, one, I enjoy serving the customer, right? And I think if you're doing this, you need to think about, well, if you were receiving an item, what would you want to know and how would you want to receive it? Because at the end of the day, that's what you get. You're paying for an item and you're paying for it to be sent to you with love and care, right? So that's kind of the approach. Every time I send something, I get super nervous because I'm worried that someone's going to complain. You are going to have those moments, but yeah, that's my advice. Okay, interesting. Might have to suss that out. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up. If there is questions, please do ask. We've still got 14 people. We're getting more people in the Jeepers. This is exciting. Oops, I just knocked my mic. Yeah, if you've got questions, or if you don't have questions, that's fine as well. But I will probably plan to start to wrap it up. One thing, if people don't know, is I'm a bit of a routine junkie, so I do try and stick to routines. I'm usually in bed by 11 o'clock, and up usually between 6 and 7. Now that it's starting to get lighter, I will be up around 6:30, go for a run, and tomorrow I'll probably just do about 6K. But that's the way I do things. This is a really good question. Do you test DVDs when you buy them? 100% honesty, no. So two things here. So a lot of my DVDs I try to focus on is sealed stuff. That's where a lot of my money has come from in the DVDs, to be honest. Like I'll buy a sealed DVD for $8 and sell it for 80. That's been seasons. Whereas usually I just check scratches. Now, if there is a DVD, if there is a DVD which is a bolo item, meaning be on the lookout for, and is of high value, but it's scratched, I'll probably take the risk and then I would test it. But I haven't really received anything that has scratches on it, or if it has scratches on it, I usually don't buy it. So I've always just ran that that risk, to be honest. Goku, my man. What shoes am I running in? So still New Balance. I'm running in the 880 V11s and 10s at the moment. Sorry, V11s, V9s and V10s at the moment. The V11s just came out, so sussing that out. But yeah, still sticking to it. And there will be some running shoe content coming to the channel very soon, just because I had someone reach out, but I won't spoil anything yet, so keep an eye out for that. Toby, you're a funny guy. You're a funny guy. Still got one more chocolate egg. Turkish delight. So still running a New Balance at the moment. Rotating between 3 shoes though. All right. Any other questions, folks? Still got 13 people here. A few lurkers. This Turkish delight's really good. Sorry. All right. I'm going to start to wrap it up if you don't have any other questions. Really do appreciate you being here. Every single one of you, if you've come and gone or come back, or if you're just jumping in now. Of course, do give this video a like. It does help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, really do appreciate it if you could. In terms of if you are here on the replay, leave a comment, send some love. Let me know that you are here on the replay, rewatching. If you did have any questions, whatnot, do let me know. More than happy to answer. Of course, you can reach out to me via my Instagram at any point in time. Instagram at CLFurlong, and I do a lot of content there as well. I share my running, I share my reselling, I share other things that I get into as well. And that's what I'm all about. Great stuff, man. Thanks for the good insight. Oh, yeah, that could be cool, man. Do it. So I do appreciate all of you stopping by. Every single one of you all means a lot to me. And, I do look forward to doing these live streams each time. And this is the first time where I haven't been as nervous. Every other time getting on here, loading up to it, I've been a bit more nervous. This time, nah, it's pretty crazy. I feel relaxed. And I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? The more you do it, the more comfortable you become. So really do appreciate all of you being here, stopping by, spending whatever time it was that you've spent here. It means the world to me. And I'll do it again next month, and we'll see how we've progressed. So really do appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I'll say bye to you all now. If you are a reseller, check out the people in the comments, because there's lots of people here that are doing amazing stuff. If you are a runner, check out the other runners in the channel too, in the chat, because there's some pretty cool runners too, and jump across and share the love between the runners and the resellers too. Yeah, maybe. Thank you so much. Thanks, mate. Really do appreciate Toby. Thank you all. Really do feel the love. Cool. That's a wrap, guys. Until next time. And of course, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do the whole shebang, and hustle. Ciao.